Yo ho ho! So today I'm going to be doing a review on Gyo by Junji Ito. So this is the story of Tadashi and his girlfriend Kaori, who are on vacation on the island of Okinawa. So Tadashi is doing a diving session and he discovers that there's an unusual amount of fish during this diving session, and there's a lot of sharks as well that prevent him from exploring an old wreckage, and something swims past him very quickly which unnerves him, so he ends up going up to the top and getting back on the boat. Back at their accommodation, Kaori starts to complain of a weird smell, a really bad smell, and she believes at first that Tadashi may be responsible for this. So a fight ensues and Tadashi storms off while Kaori goes off to have a second shower to see if that would do anything to get rid of the smell. And when Tadashi comes back, he discovers that Kaori is unconscious in the shower room, and when she awakens she is absolutely panic-stricken, stating that there's a monster in the shower. Upon inspection, Tadashi makes a disturbing discovery in the shower room. There's actually just a dead fish with legs. So out of all the Junji Ito books that I've read, I think that this story has the most relatable and real characters. The fight scene that I just described for you is one that you could see an actual real young couple having. Kaori may be the stereotypical needy, annoying girlfriend, but when you strip that back, she's just a girl who wants to be protected and she wants to be loved. And she's absolutely terrified of losing Tadashi. And Tadashi does have the same fears, though it's not blatantly obvious at first. He plays the role of protector, the role that Kaori needs him to be, very well. And though he may begrudgingly get rid of the fish initially because he thinks it's ridiculous, he thinks that Kaori's been over the top about it, once he realizes the imminent threat that it actually poses and the reality of the situation, immediately his main priority is getting Kaori to safety and back to Tokyo. I felt that Tadashi's character was a little bit flat though. I definitely did prefer Kaori, and I thought that she had a lot more depth to her, and that's probably why she was made to be the main protagonist in the adaptation of this, although I heard that adaptation wasn't particularly good. Other characters worth mentioning are Dr. Koyanagi, who is Tadashi's uncle who he goes to for help to see if he can shed any light on what's happening, and his assistant, Mrs. Yoshiyama, who is a good example of someone who's just trying to do what's best for the greater good. Dr. Kawanagi was a little bit stereotypical, and from the very beginning he is somewhat unsettling, but I did enjoy the element that he brought to the story. So this is a pandemic story, and it's actually the first Junji Ito story that I've read that isn't a paranormal based horror, it's sci-fi horror. And Ito stated that it's actually inspired by Jaws. He thought that Jaws was a great film, but he wanted to have that sort of panic on land. Also, I would say H.P. Lovecraft was a big inspiration for this as well. And I would also include Alien, just because the way the devices that are attached to the fish latch on, it really reminded me of the facehuggers. However, I did have a few issues with the writing because Junji Ito has a tendency to leave certain questions unanswered because he wants his audience to decide what's actually going on rather than spelling it all out. And though I do appreciate that sort of thing, and I felt like it's worked in his other books, I just wanted a little bit more clarification on certain areas as to what's actually happening or why this is particularly happening now. The art style is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's very beautiful and delicate at the beginning, very minimalistic looking, and has very clean line work, hence why so many people tend to get Junji Ito's artwork tattooed onto them. And then as the story progresses, it gets very dark, it's very gory, it's vivid, it's incredibly detailed, and these two styles work really well with each other because you've got the softness of the characters compared to the really grittiness of the monsters. This edition also contains two short stories at the end that are unrelated. The first one is called The Sad Tale of the Principal Lost, and the second one is called The Enigma of the Amigara Fault, which was my favourite of the two. I thought that was really unsettling and disturbing. So this is actually the shortest out of the 3 volumes that are in the same edition. So out of Uzumaki and Tomi, this is the shortest. It took me just over an hour to read it, and I was kind of disappointed that I was able to get through it that quickly, but I wasn't disappointed with the story. I found it very addicting, very entertaining. I also think that this would be a great introduction to someone who wants to start getting into reading Junji Ito. I think it has all the elements that people generally love. This was a 4-star read for me. I absolutely loved it and would recommend it to anyone, especially if you're someone who's starting to get into reading more horror manga. This is a really good place to start. So that has been my review for Gyo. Let me know if you've read it, let me know your thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.